6.25 mile run. Why do some people look so cute when they run? I mean, I've got my...
Move, bitch! Get out of my fucking way! It's Black History Month!
Hey y'all, I bet you thought I forgot. It's February, baby. It's Black History Month. If you've been following my channel for a while, and if you have, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm a rat. You know I'm a rat. But if you've been paying close enough attention, you would also know that I absolutely identify as a 30-something-year-old black guy. That's just how I feel. And, you know, I'm always very conscious of how black people are being portrayed in media, in movies and video games, in comic books and TV. And I've really been wanting to make a video on the topic. But I thought rather than just yapping about black video game characters for 40 minutes, I thought it'd be cool to have an actual conversation. So I called up my friend, my good friend, known him since like the first grade, I believe. We used to do a podcast, in fact, so it came quite naturally. And I do think he tends to have a more nuanced take on these sorts of things. And yeah, it was quite a long conversation, so I've definitely edited it down. It was about 2 hours initially, and we're down to whatever this video ends up being. But yeah, I know this video is not going to be for everyone. So if you're waiting for the next rat video, waiting for volume 4, trust me, it is in the works. It's going to be big. My goal isn't to make every rat video longer than the previous one, but I'm thinking we might be pushing 30 minutes on the next one. So please, of course, stay subscribed for the rat videos. That's my bread and butter, and I just love doing those videos. And yeah, my friend does not have a YouTube channel or a podcast or anything of that sort currently, but I think he's the guy. He should definitely get it rolling. So if you want to encourage him to do that, yeah, go ahead and leave that nice comment and nothing else. Thank you. But the prompt was just your thoughts on representation in general in media, and specifically video games for most of our conversation.
I'll come back.
You better. I gotta know how this tale of Hazel ends. Hazel, no!
This ends now. Mama?
I would say, you know, we're like 2 steps forward, or was it 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of thing? I don't know. I mean, you know, in terms of where we are, I think there has been kind of a strange regression in terms of this idea that we have become overrepresented in media, which honestly, even looking up some of the topics today, I there's not a lot of examples, and you know, especially if you're looking at things from a representation from like if we're just looking at games, right? Like we're looking at representation from game creation, RPG maker, or we're looking at it from a narrative perspective, like you're looking at it from the perspective of a specific type of character or person. I would say there's even less of that than there is of the RPG mechanic, and then the RPG mechanic is just kind of like, as you know, kind of boilerplate, silk press haircuts and, you know, strangely skin toned kind of people. But you know, I would say overall, I mean, It's a lot better. I think there's a lot of, I would say, corporate tokenization, unfortunately.
For sure.
You know, in the sense that they recognize that it's something that people care about, but only enough to do the bare minimum. And then they want to be praised for that.
So it feels like
I think
they're doing it out of obligation, or they think it'll potentially result in financial gain, for example.
Yeah. I mean, like the case in point, right? The whole report, which I don't know if it's actually been confirmed by journalists, but like the whole report with Assassin's Creed, right? I think Assassin's Creed wanted to do, what was it, a game during the Civil War, post-Civil War, right?
I'm glad you brought up Assassin's Creed, actually, because that was one of the games. I guess I was going to talk about 2, or really 3 Assassin's Creed games. But, yeah, it's... I'm sure... I mean, yeah, I guess, to be honest, I don't know how much I even believe that, but maybe they really did want to make that kind of game, and the optics weren't good. I don't know who would be upset. I can imagine who would be upset by it, but I would play that. That would have been one of the Assassin's Creed games I purchased, and not just wait to be free on PlayStation Plus like most of them are now.
You remember when people were so mad at Red Dead Redemption?
I thought you were going to say CJ in San Andreas. I remember that, but yeah, you could kill the KKK in Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
And this is upsetting.
They were so upset about that. It's like, I'm trying to understand why. Why are you upset about this?
Because they would say that they can't defend being upset about the KKK being, killable. So they have to say it's like, I just don't want politics in my games. But is that really a political stance to say the KKK is bad? I don't know. But yeah, sorry, we're trying to be positive here. I'll talk about Assassin's Creed just since you brought it up. Have you played any of them, by the way?
Yeah.
Which ones?
I would say I played the original ones. Like, you're talking about the Ezio trilogy or whatever.
So was
right?
that 2, Brotherhood, and something? I forgot what the last one was.
I fell off once they
Revelations.
started doing all the extra. Once Desmond was out of the picture, that's when I fell off. Like,
That's a spoiler, but I'm sure if people
well.
if people wanted to play those games,
game's been around for like nearly 20 years, so
they've had time. Yeah,
they had time. I mean, yeah, I played the original Assassin's Creed, and for me, my favorite one, which I think a lot of people like, is the what's the one with Connor?
Connor.
It's the one with Native American.
That was 3. That was Assassin's Creed 3.
Assassin's Creed 3. That was my favorite one.
I like that one. That was pretty good.
Like the introduction was so interesting. Like you're kind of playing the dad.
That's true.
You're playing the villain. You're playing the villain, and you're going through. You're meeting like this woman. You fall in love, all this stuff, and you don't realize that it's actually just a big setup for the actual protagonist, and the angst and the pain and the tragedy out of that, and then just playing a Native American character. And I know, when I think about representation, actually, I was thinking about representation in a lot of different aspects, like intersectional, because I like to be intersectional in my thinking, right? Like, not just from a black, but just person of color perspective, and then also just like LGBT perspective. But like also, I think that's probably one of my earlier introductions to a person of color as the main protagonist.
Yeah, like in a good
Yeah.
video game, I would say.
Yes, it was a
So
great video game.
I feel like 3's not that popular like amongst the fans. I don't think it's that reason though. I think there's some gameplay stuff people don't like. But
yeah.
did you ever play the next game, the sequel, or technically it's a prequel? Black Flag, the pirate
Black Flag.
one.
No, that's once they started making like pirate ship simulators. I was like, I'm out. I can't do
All
that.
right.
That's too much work.
Yeah, I think 3 had a ship in it, but they didn't go all in on it. You missed out on the best Assassin's Creed. I don't think anyone would debate that's the best Assassin's Creed. And there's a character in this game called Adewale. Hope I pronounced it correctly. And he's an ex-slave. So he was a slave. He's an ex-slave, and now he's like in this crew of pirates. And I thought he was a great character, solid character in the game. Yeah. In Black Flag, nothing crazy. I mean, it's just, as far as representation goes, like, the depiction is fine. He is an ex-slave, but, like, it's of the time, right? But, there's, like, a spin-off. They did, like, a DLC called...
I was born into slavery, deprived of any right, of any faith. I was sold, traded for labor, forced to watch the suffering, treated like a beast of burden. With no future ahead of me, I forged my own, and I knew blood would be the price. I never looked back, never wanted to, never had to, until now.
Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry, the epic add-on adventure from Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
That
The thumbnail is doing a lot of work.
I can see a lot of people. I can see a lot of certain types of people being upset with that thumbnail.
I actually don't remember how, like, the reception. Like, the game is good, so I don't think there's anyone saying the game sucked.
That thumbnail's crazy though, man. That thumbnail's wild. I love it though.
Yeah,
Golly.
after I pasted it in, I was like, oh, that's a choice. It's not even an actual thumbnail, it's like a freeze frame, but like that obviously happens in the trailer. I'm gonna cut in here for a moment. Do y'all remember in 2013 when Ubisoft released Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry during Black History Month? This game is kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. I find myself coming back to this game every year, and usually during February. I think this game is kind of what inspired me to make this video in the first place. Every time I play this game, I think it would be funny. It would be funny, but also fitting to make a video during Black History Month talking about this game. And I'm gonna spare you all the details about the story because I think you should play it. It's a standalone game now. You can just buy it outright. $15 maximum, but it goes on sale constantly, and it's free on PlayStation Plus. But this is a game in which you play as an ex-slave, where your primary objectives throughout the game are freeing slaves, killing slave traders, killing slave masters. It's almost therapeutic, I would say. I'm typically not much of a completionist when it comes to video games. Like, if it's fun, I will do it. I will do all of it. But I'm not doing chores just for the sake of a platinum trophy. But I always find myself stopping 100% of the time for every side event, every side quest in this game, because they all tend to be about freeing slaves. And as far as the depiction goes, it's uncomfortable, you know. This is an uncomfortable subject matter. So every time I play this game, I'm surprised every time because it's a very honest depiction. It's not really kind of like a Disney Channel depiction like you might expect a big company like Ubisoft to do. It was initially kind of tucked away as just this DLC to Black Flag, but like I said, you can buy this game standalone now. I think it would have been really cool if we got, you know, a full game revolving around this subject, revolving around this character, but I'm not greedy. I think it would be a fair argument to make if you said, for example, that you're tired of seeing black folks as slaves, you're tired of the ex-slave story, you're tired of the slave freeing himself, you're tired of the slave being a slave. You know, we have so many of these movies. There are not many games like this, but I definitely agree with all of that. I do think video games have the advantage though, because yeah, as cool as it is watching Jamie Foxx in Django Unchained, you know, kill folks. Love that movie.
I like the way you die, boy.
Playing the game, you know, like I said, it feels good. This game is old. Let's put that. I don't want to make this a gameplay video, but this game is old and it doesn't feel great to play. It doesn't feel as great as I remember it being, but it usually takes about 5 minutes before I'm killing these slave traders again, and it just feels good. Fuck all that stealth, all that sneaking around. I'm gonna wipe the map clean of these slave traders, and I'm gonna be rewarded for it. Play the game. Speaking of modern day Ubisoft, I think choosing, what's his name, Yasuke, which is a real historical figure, like only a little is known about him, but like he's a real historical figure like in Japan at that time. And I think this is an example of like what you're talking about before, where they like, how do you, and this might be a hot take, actually, I'm afraid it might be a hot take, but how do you make a game set in Japan at that time and one of the two main protagonists is an African guy? Sorry, that's not my issue with the game, but like it does feel like kind of a bit like pandering. And as an Assassin's Creed fan, my issue with it is all of the assassins have always been fictional characters, because that was the point. It's like this fictional character that's kind of lurking in the shadows and like puppeteering in the background, like making history happen, you know? But like to make one of the characters like an actual person that did exist, it's like a restraint already. Like you have to, I mean, there's not a lot known about him, but they know, you know, his name, vaguely what he looked like, where he was, where he died, that kind of thing. So I don't know.
Man, I'm gonna. I know this is your video. I'm gonna disagree a little bit here.
You're allowed to disagree.
I actually didn't have a problem with, was it Yasuke? I don't know. Make sure I'm pronouncing it right. As the character, you know, mainly because I think a lot of people make these comparisons, which I think is funny, because like I think in various iterations of Assassin's Creed, right, you're like fighting the Pope.
He's like, it's Washington. Like, I'll throw some clips in there. It's like a Kingdom Hearts-esque fight when you're fighting the Pope. Yeah. There's like magic and shit. So like people who are talking about historical accuracy, I agree 100% about that. That's not my issue. It's the fact that it's not about the historical accuracy. It's more that in the past they always created a fictional character, because like that was the point of the story, the series, right? It's like this character that was lost to history because he's like in the shadows, like as an assassin. But yeah, the game has two protagonists, so, and I haven't played it. Got to put that out there. I haven't actually played the game yet.
I've been playing. I've played it, but I fell off because like, I'm a terrible completionist. I mean, with that in mind, you know, I mean, okay, they could have made a character that was inspired by Yasuke, right? As opposed to actually using.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Main character. I think, you know, for me, you make a point about like now you're constrained, and now it's the same equivalent. I like what you're describing is the same equivalent of like based on a true story, and it's like a movie based on a true story. And I actually hate those types of movies because I spend the entire time imagining how much of this is completely fake. Like the whole Rudy story. I heard he's an asshole.
Well, Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's my issue with choosing a real person as one of the protagonists. But again, there are two protagonists, and you've played the game apparently, so maybe maybe I'm wrong.
The introduction to Yasuke is interesting because it's like you see clips online, but like one of the first choices, like dialogue choices you get, is like whether or not to the Portuguese has brought you in, and you're kind of like a slave, I guess, of sorts. Indentured, whatever. It's been a while, so I can't remember the exact legal status.
You don't want to get too political. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't want to get too political. But, there's a scene where you're talking to, like, the head shogun dude, and the Portuguese are there, and, like, you're off in the corner, and, like, you're asked a question, and, like, you can either answer or you can be quiet. And, like, I think the most black response is, like, everyone says, after being disrespected right before in the game, you're like, I'm going to speak up.
I'm not gonna be quiet.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it's like that was a very intentional choice, and I like there's some of those choices in the game where they don't shy away from that the anti-blackness aspect of it all, but they also kind of play into the beastly nature.
I don't like the sound of that, but please elaborate. The beastly nature.
I mean. And this is once again filtered through the lens of a black man watching and playing a black character, because I think it's like the duality, right? Of the dual protagonist. You have the stealthy, kind of silent approach Assassin. With the female Asian character, which people are still upset about for some reason. And then you have like
woman.
the large.
It's not historically accurate. She's a woman.
She exists as a woman.
They weren't allowed to wear pants. I'm exaggerating.
Then you have Yasuke, who's like big bulking guy, and his whole thing is no stealth. You can't go on the ropes or fall if you go on the ropes. You go in, you rough things up, you beat everyone down, and you're like a big tank.
I've seen the videos. Yeah, he's like throwing hands. I mean, To be fair, and this goes back to my issue. Like, that's how he was described, like in the text, the history, like as like a huge. I was gonna say superhuman, but that's me like editorializing a little bit. But yeah, he was described as like being really big and like abnormally strong. But I feel like that's an issue when you're like making your character on an actual person that exists.
Well, the historical text described that, but who were writing the historical text?
That's fair. This is true. All of this is true, but. Yeah, why put that restraint on yourself? I don't know if he needed to be in the game, but I do want to play it, and I think
it's worth playing.
Oh, I feel bad for forgetting. Black Flag wasn't the first, or Freedom Cry wasn't the first game. There was a PlayStation Vita game where you play as a female black protagonist. Liberation, maybe? Liberation? I never played it because... What am I doing playing the PlayStation? But no.
Actually, I actually have a PS Vita I'm trying to like fix that I need to kind of
because I mentioned it, I feel like I have to play it now in this video at some point. But yeah, that'll go with. I'll do like all of them: Freedom Cry, Shadows, and I think it's called Liberation. Yeah, female protagonist. I think the upset at that time was a lot, and this was, our people were upset like. We get a game finally, but it's like a handheld spin-off. Like, finally there's a protagonist who's a woman, which hadn't happened yet, and also black, but it's like the PlayStation Vita game that no one's gonna play. It's been ported to like home consoles now, but yeah, I was kind of one of those people. Like, yeah, can we?
Can I just say this dovetails into a topic, or diving into Assassin's Creed and like the magical fantasy aspect kind of weaved in with like historical.
The best bits, you mean?
Yeah, and I think this is something I think a lot of black people, or at least black people I talk to, when it comes to media and fiction, and I call it the 12 Years a Slave effect. It's like, can we have black representation? Can we have POC representation that isn't directly tied to trauma or suffering? And I think I would say later years, like recent, going into 2026, 2025, right? I think we've seen more of like black sci-fi or characters that are kind of like their identity is part of their background, but it isn't the defining part of the narrative. It's something that gives world building and context to how they interact with the world, but it isn't as much a plot device.
Yeah.
And I liked that path, and I think some of the games, right, we might be talking about, kind of dive into that a little bit more in direct ways and in more indirect ways. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with all of that.
You may rise.
You ask me to let your priests walk freely. But your priests are here already, Father Valegnano. Perhaps before you worry about your priest feet, you may wish to plead for their heads. Your black man has the instincts of a warrior. As he realized the danger you are in, his eyes found every threat in the room.
I'm sorry, Lord Nobunaga. He does not understand us.
I would have many questions for this man, if only he understood. He is all the people of Kyoto speak about since his arrival.
Lord Nobunaga, I do understand you.
Have you been deceiving me, Father Valegnano?
No, Lord Nobunaga. Even I am surprised to hear Diogo speak like this.
Your name is Diogo?
Yes, Lord Nobunaga. That is what they call me.
The character creation in terms of really building a background for your character, and like I said, there's not really, I would say, in 2025, and you can correct me, there's not a perfect RPG creation character system for like black people.
I'm gonna correct you because you know the answer is Dragon's Dogma 2 or Monster Hunter Wilds or World.
I haven't played Monster Hunter Wilds. I have played Dragon's. Yeah, I mean, once again, I actually spun off Dragon's Dogma the other day. Yeah, the character creation for that is pretty interesting. I recreated my wife as one of the companions, which, I don't know, there might be commentary on that.
Wait. Well, what do you think the commentary might be on that? Okay.
Well, no, just like, basically your companions are like indentured servants. And like making my wife an indentured servant in a video game.
I don't know if I should say this actually, but let me fix my angles.
But my wife appreciated the outfits I gave her and how I leveled her up, so it kind of evened itself out. I got her permission. So
no, I was gonna say because we're friends on PSN. I hired her as one of my pawns, and ultimately. And I feel bad for this. I did end up throwing her off a cliff to her death because that's just how I switch out pawns. It's like, well, they didn't die naturally, but I want to switch it out because they don't level up, right? So I was like, all right,
yeah.
So it wasn't personal. That's just how I do it every time. But I did feel bad. My brother was here when that happened as well, and I described the context.
Okay. I'm gonna have to.
You don't have to tell her.
I'm definitely gonna tell her that.
I think I might have a video clip of it even.
She'll definitely get a laugh out of that. But yeah, I mean, I guess Dragon's Dogma has a good character creation tool, for sure. Does Dragon's Dogma have the one where like you can like really shape everything and all the like cheap? Okay, yeah, that's fair.
And it's basically the same one in Monster Hunter Wilds because Capcom. It's just literally the same creator.
I think what I get into and what I really mean is hair. It's the hair thing.
I feel like there's a fair amount of options in there.
It's
Like I don't want to be greedy, right? I don't know how many hairstyles there are actually, like 60 maybe. And I would say
Yeah. I'm gonna have a hot take here.
Okay. Here he goes.
I don't hate the Killmonger cut. Everyone hates the Killmonger cut.
I don't think it's I don't think it's that people hate it. I think they hate that we only get the Killmonger cut. Like if that's one of the many options, put it in there.
Yeah.
But like don't give fucking Miles Morales the Killmonger cut. Why did they do that? They perfected the fade. Remember when they made that huge deal about the tech going into his fade?
Yeah.
And then for the next game, it's like, oh, we can do that Killmonger cut. Let's do it. Yeah, I don't think people have an issue with the cut. It's just, like every character is getting. Well, for a while, every character was getting the same haircut. It's kind of died down recently, though, so that's fine.
But yeah, I mean, Baldur's Gate 3, Dragon's Dogma. I mean, excellent character creation. I mean, Dragon's Dogma. It's a little bit more of the silent protagonist kind of thing, right? Like with Baldur's Gate 3, it's like a true role-playing game and true narrative choice, and the race that you choose of your character, skin tone. So it's like, but I think the themes of racism and bigotry are both present in Dragon's Dogma and also Baldur's Gate 3. But yeah, I mean, there's so much to say about Baldur's Gate 3, but I don't know. It's a beautiful game in a lot of different aspects. It allows people to see themselves in the story. And a lot of that, from a UX perspective, is by giving them the ability to craft their own character. I would say, on the opposite end of the spectrum, something that has a very robust, or mostly robust, character creation system that ends up being pretty much useless in my opinion is Cyberpunk 2077.
It's first person
drives me crazy.
Great game. Apparently they intended to have like both, where you could toggle between first and third person, but development time, cost, resources, etc. But yeah, really great character creator, so you can look in the mirror occasionally and sometimes pop up in a cutscene. Disappointing.
Yeah, it's just a little absurd to me.
Ships in the water. Send fishing dories if need be, I care not. Glossair engines are as good to us as sky to a fish. Leave what boats have foundered. I want souls saved, not driftwood. Our armada ran afoul of bad water near the Ridorana Cataract. All engines stopped a sudden. Becalmed. Trouble with a mist thick as death, it seems. Those seas are yacht. I expected airship trouble, not a fleet foundering amidst the waves. Tell me of what happened in Girovegon. From the lay of your eyes, I measure all did not go well.
Man, I regret not bringing up Final Fantasy in our conversation, but Final Fantasy actually has a lot of examples, surprisingly. I think most people, when they think of black characters in Final Fantasy, they're immediately going to go to Barret in Final Fantasy VII. And if we're being honest, and this applies especially to the original Final Fantasy VII, I did not love the very over-the-top, Mr. T-esque, hot-headed, jive-talking, loud Barret. Like, the characterization in that game is borderline offensive, I would say. I do think the remake does a good job of maintaining the character, but also, toning all of that way down. Go back and play the original and read the dialogue. You'll see what I'm talking about. In the remake, he's very much the same character, but I think they do a better job of making him a bit more nuanced. He's not a very one-note character in the remake. He's got some dimension to him.
Go so far as to bomb a reactor.
They've yet to announce it publicly, but I heard it was Avalanche's doing.
Really? Aren't they the terrorists who tried to kill the president?
Is there nothing they won't do?
Hey, quit talking out your ass. Everyone knows Avalanche only cares about saving the planet.
Just who do you think you are?
A law-abiding, concerned citizen.
Law-abiding? Really?
Shh. Don't antagonize him. In my humble opinion, that explosion was a message. A message to the bastards bleeding our planet dry. Think they got it? Heard it loud and clear? Y'all's masters?
We will not submit to intimidation or violence, but work together for peace and prosperity. That is how civilized people change the world!
That's right.
That is the Shinra Creed.
Them's fighting words.
It's what we believe. We all have to follow our conscience, don't we?
We should go.
Right.
And right after 7, I remember playing Final Fantasy VIII and being obsessed with Kyros, but he's such a minor character and we don't really get to see much of him or Laguna and that whole crew. I do hope that someday, some way, we see a Crisis Core-esque or a Final Fantasy VII Remake-esque game in which Laguna and his whole crew get a little more time to shine, because I think the way the character is portrayed, the character design, everything about this guy, I was in love with. But yeah, if you ask me what my favorite and, in my opinion, the best black character in Final Fantasy was, I mean, obviously we have the MMOs today, so you could be a black guy in Final Fantasy XIV if you wanted to, but I would go back to Saz from Final Fantasy XIII. And yeah, I remember we were all a little bit worried, quite worried actually. We saw the designs, we were waiting for, this is back when Japanese games released almost a year ahead in Japan, and we had to wait in the US to get the game. And we were looking at, screenshots, we were looking at videos, and we were afraid. We saw the afro, we saw he's got that baby chocobo living in there, which I'm still not a fan of. Terrible design choice. And yeah, it is offensive. There's an implication there, like the texture of his hair. There's a bird living in his hair, come on. But I do think it's unfortunate because, yeah, minus the bird, I think the design is cool. I actually like the design. And more than the design, I really like the character. Like, this is my favorite character in Final Fantasy XIII. I think Final Fantasy XIII is very underrated, by the way. I've replayed it recently on Steam, and yeah, it's a really fun game. It still looks amazing, but again, we're not really getting into that kind of thing in this video. In the case of JRPGs especially, when on the odd chance that there is a black character, and it is rare, I think we all have the same concern that, yeah, he's almost certainly gonna be a man, for one, and he's almost certainly gonna be a kind of comic relief character. We see this with Barrett, of course. And yeah, unfortunately, Saz kind of is also that. But I think not in the way most people would have expected. I think what I find most funny about him is he really feels like amongst these characters, this is a JRPG of that time. He feels like a normal person on this crazy quest, surrounded by these very anime protagonists, and he says reasonable things, he's very uncomfortable a lot of the time, and his motivations are very sincere. He's just a dad who wants to get his kid. It's quite simple and quite powerful, and I think he's the heart of this game.
Dodge.
Hey, Dad.
Making a wish, huh? What'd you wish for?
Well, you're never happy. You never smile. So here's what I wished. I wish that you'd cheer up and be like your old self again.
How about that?
Whoa.
Your wish came true.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, it's my turn to wish.
What for, Dad?
That's my little secret.
It's a little bit of a disappointment, the character design. Or otherwise this would have been a slam dunk. And yeah, there is the whole comic relief thing. Sure. But I guess it's the thing Alex mentioned earlier. I love Black Panther as much as the next guy, right? But I don't mind watching a movie with black people in it wherein, you know, the plot isn't about them being black. You know, they're just integrated into the story as human beings, as they should be. Yeah, so in this sense, I guess Saz in Final Fantasy XIII, he's just a character in the party. Really the only thing they do to acknowledge his race is the Afro thing that I can't defend. And you know what? His kid is adorable. He was absolutely the highlight of this game for me. So I was a little disappointed when Final Fantasy XIV and eventually 16 came around, and we've got nothing even close to this kind of thing.
I play a lot of indie games. I'm not really much of a AAA person. I have a few tentpole games, right, that I play every year that, you know...
Assassin's Creed Shadows, apparently.
Yeah, single-player story games. I like story games with a narrative, games with a story, something with a message, something to communicate. Two games that really stuck out at me. One, people really know a lot about, and one, you know, maybe people, it kind of flew under the radar, but it's a follow-up to Gris. I don't know if you heard of Neva.
Neva?
Yes.
I have not heard of it.
It's a follow-up by the same studio that made Gris. It's like a very beautiful, I want to say hand-drawn type of game, but it has the protagonist is a black woman. And it's a 2D. It's kind of a Metroidvania. I wouldn't say Metroidvania. I'm still pretty early on in the game, but you're kind of exploring this world. It's a decaying world. I think there's some themes around environmentalism, maybe a little bit. Very abstracted, I think, because you're not like, it's not like a Captain Planet type of game or anything like that.
I mean,
by any means.
I play that game.
But basically, look up the trailer. The trailer, you pull the trailer up. The trailer is beautiful. It's a very lovely trailer in terms of you're this character. You introduce this character. She has this massive wolf dog, like massive, like huge.
Sounds familiar. Yeah, I think I have seen the trailer.
Yeah. And there's like this darkness that comes in, and like they're fighting it off. The dog sacrifices herself, and little, you know, like there's also a pup as well. There's a puppy. The puppy survives. The mom, the massive mom wolf dog doesn't, and it's like you see the grief over that. There's a little bit of that, and then the game starts, and like you're now taking care of this puppy because the mom's died. And now you're raising the puppy, and like the puppy's growing alongside with you, getting abilities. And I know there's a whole big narrative element around that, around the companionship, and then dealing with like this environment that's being corrupted. Really interesting kind of thematic game. I would say there's a lot to kind of read between the lines. I like games that don't hit you on the head with its message, right? And what I mean by that is like, I mean to say, like, I think we're in this era of the Netflixification of everything.
It's a good word.
It's the assumption that everyone has the attention span of like a gnat, and you're likely dual screening or whatever at the time as opposed to paying attention. But like I think this is more prevalent in like more movies and media and TV shows than games, but you still have those kind of games that are meant not to engage you too critically. It's like now you've got this theme of like people saying it's not that deep, but I'm like, maybe it is that deep. Maybe you should think critically about what you're engaging with. I think you don't have to have something that looks exactly like you in order to enjoy the experience. And I would say a lot of people of color, a lot of people in marginalized communities, right?
Yeah,
they enjoy
all about
plenty
that.
of
Yeah, we like Spider-Man. We like Peter Parker.
There's so many games that I've enjoyed that aren't a direct reflection of my worldview and experience, but I still enjoyed them. Like that doesn't. And I think this is kind of a perfect example or encapsulation of that. It is that deep. I think it encourages people to kind of think a little bit deeper and critically kind of engage. Their synapses a little bit, like sparking some things in there to kind of think about.
Well, I think that's a good place to call it, folks. I'm sorry, I apologize. There was so much footage to edit, and I feel like I didn't do a good job of putting it together in a sensical way, but there's at least an hour and a half more, I believe, of footage. There's a pretty comprehensive Spider-Man 2 review in there, if you want to see that. But, yeah, any feedback is good feedback, I suppose, within reason. So please leave your comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'm uploading this on March 1st here in Japan, but it's February 28th somewhere, so technically made the deadline. But yeah, we'll go back to the regularly scheduled programming. I do think I'm probably going to try and cut a few more videos out of this, but I have a Kamen Rider video coming up, and of course, more rats. Well, there's my phone, and on that note, take care.